Medical moment. Tim Doty looked at ACL injuries and how they're affecting a growing number of female athletes.
This week, Dr. Kendall Hamilton of Spectrum Health Medical Group explains how jump training can cut down on these problems.
It's a whole program centered around retraining the balance, retraining us how to land, and retraining us how to jump with proper technique. I think the biggest thing is when you're transitioning from a fall sport such as soccer, lacrosse, or football, most of the time you spend is down in a crouch position. When you're more in a basketball or more in a winter sport, you're a little more erect and you're doing a lot more jumping. So we've got to make sure we maintain the right technique, the right control, the right balance, and when we jump, we have to remember to jump and land in a seated position. I want to show you the improper way first, and so Philip, if you would like to show us how to take a 2-foot or a 1-foot jump and land kind of more in a standing position. So when you jump, whether you're a 2-foot jumper or a 1-foot jumper, your explosion comes from your hamstrings, from your calves, from your glute muscles. And when you land, you want to use those same muscles to support your landing. What happens a lot of times, especially in females, is when we jump using those muscles to explode, we actually land with our quadriceps, our front muscles. That puts a lot more force on the ACL ligament, the sports ligament. And when you land in that front position, you can see that all your weight is forward and your balance is off. And you can see that landing this way, something has to take the forces that you hit the ground when you land. And usually that's the inside of the knee, the ACL, the meniscus, and that's why landing in more of a standing position has an increased risk of rupturing or tearing your ACL. So with the jump training and the plyometrics, we actually go through different scenarios in which we get you to land and jump 1-footed, and we get you to land and jump 2-footed, both in over large distances and short distances. Now I want to show you the proper way to land. So you can do a 2-foot jump, Philip, landing more in a seated position. So now you can see as he jumped in this particular instance, he used his quadriceps, or excuse me, he used his hamstrings, his core, his glutes to actually explode, and he used the same thing to come back into this position. What that does is it creates a balance between those muscles. It takes a lot of force off of your quadriceps. It reduces the force more than 50% on your ACL. And so it really, really reduces the risk of tearing your ACL. So when we do this jump training, we do this plyometrics, what we're doing is retraining you to jump in a seated position so we can reduce the force on the ACL.
Some good advice. Our newsroom real quick. Portland Middle School will be closed tomorrow because of sewer problems.
Not because